Hello, dear student. This is Amir Khan, your social studies teacher. As we well know about, we are studying about the major climatic regions of the world. So, yesterday, last class, we studied about the monsoon climate. So today will be Mediterranean climate and tundra climate. So, where you will learn about the Mediterranean climate and tundra, and where you will learn about the location of the Mediterranean and what kind of activity we find in Mediterranean, and then we will go for tundra's location and their activities and types of tundra. So first we are going to look from the slides. So Mediterranean is actually an area of surround, we are saying that around of that Mediterranean climate. If we come to the location of the Mediterranean climate, we mostly find in the world about 30 to 45 degrees. So you can look over here, or mostly these are found on the western sides of that continent. So if you look over here around of the Mediterranean climate, so there would be here you look on here in Mediterranean areas, then you will look on California, like we find on Los Angeles and Las Vegas, these areas where on that types of climate. Then we find on the central Chile, that is in the Southern America. Then we will look on the western cape of South Africa. Then we will look over here southwest of Australia as well. These kinds of climates are found on the world, these regions. So what kind of temperatures are there? You can look over here. It's a high in summer and mild. It's not freeze types of winter, but it is mild where there is no kind of freeze. So these kinds of climates are found on 30 to 45 degrees. So precipitation is low, especially in summer, and vegetations are somehow it's not that much which we were observed in the monsoon climate. So like what kind of trees we will find over there would be these are mostly in dry in summer, so we will find different kinds of fruits like vegetables. If you look over here, tomatoes, and then orange, lemon, peaches, apricot, olivias, and cereals. Such kinds of these kinds of plants or fruits we find on these region. And what kind of cereals, such cereal like which we are using for food, like we look over here in as wheat as well, cattle, sheep, and rice. These kinds of activities are found on these region. These lands are not as much fertile as we have seen in the monsoon region. So these kinds were types of agricultural activities, and you find over these types of animals we find in Mediterranean. Angel sharks found in the Mediterranean area, critically endangered. Then the another one, so these types of animal we find over here you will find some kind of agricultural activities like primary source of the world, olivia, grapes are also, and then we look over here, wheats and other grains are also grown mostly in the local consumption. And animals products like wool we find over there, skin we find there from there, meat we find mostly. If you look on the Mediterranean areas, they are providing these kinds of activity to the European country, because it's the southern part of that European country. So we find these kinds of, they are exporting this to that European country. So then we come to the tundra, and the tundra, you well known about that is very cold, and hardly 3 months of summer, winter, and autumn, like these types of climate we find in tundra. And actually tundra is of two types. Okay, then first we will if we look on that, like we are saying that tundras are mostly on these, like in the polar region like Antarctica and Arctic regions. So these region, the yellow one, not the brown one, yellow one, you can look on the top, that is a kind of that Arctic, and Antarctica on the southern region. These are also tundra. But there are another one, alpine tundra. Tundras are, if we look on the surround of our areas, if mostly these, if we observe in Gilgit Baltistan, in Pakistan, like when you will look from surround in Gilgit, there are some plants are even in a stages. We find plants are found on the height, but when we are looking for the other, when we are going to as much high of the elevation, we didn't find any kind of plants on that region. We find glaciers lanes area where they are totally vested regions. That these kinds types are of a alpine tundra. So you can look what kind of characteristics they have: extremely cold climate, low biotic diversity, simple vegetation structures, are limitation of drainage, like we didn't find that much river systems or these types over there. And one good things of that tundra is we find like mining sources are also there. The famous example of that minings are, if we look on the southern region, on this region in Alaska, here we find Alaska, that here we find Alaska. So these are the types we find mining sources are find over on these tundra region. It's very important according to a point of view of mining purpose. Like we find different kind of coils are there, oils, and these types we find on this region. And animals activities are, these are a small rate like lemming. It's of 10 to 15 centimeters of long. They homes, they're going in the making holes in the snow, and they live there and they eat roots of some of that kinds of plants. Then we find penguin is also that we well known about, that is also very active, or we can say that these kinds of birds we find on the tundra region. So these are the types. You can also look from the book with the references of page number 26 and 27. So these would be, and your homework with the help of your notebook from your book, you have to do these homework. Define the Mediterranean climate. What kind of activity we find in Mediterranean climate? Define the types of the tundras and discuss the tundra's importance. So these are your home tasks. Thank you so much for listening me.